नमस्कार। हम आप सभी का इंडिपेंडेंट रिसर्च एथिक्स सोसाइटी की आयुष समृद्धि इंटरनेशनल वेबिनार सीरीज के 2317वें अंक में पुनः स्वागत करते हैं। हम आज बाइसिकल डे सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं। बाइसिकल डे एक बाइसिकल एकमात्र ऐसा साधन हुआ करता था आज से 40-50 साल पहले। स्कूटर तो बड़े प्रेस्टिजियस घरों में रहता था। जिसके घर में स्कूटर रहता था वो एक चर्चा का विषय रहता था। लैम्ब्रेटा, बजाज भी बाद में आया। तो मैं बाइसिकल के हेल्थ बेनिफिट्स के लिए, टॉपिक ही आज हमारा है बाइसिकल हेल्थी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन। मैं डॉक्टर शकत कुमार बसु जी और मिस्टर सनातन महाकुट का बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं। दोनों ही प्रखर वक्ता हैं, एक पूरी रिसर्च और सोशियोलॉजी के ज्ञाता हैं और एक योग के आचार्य हैं। मैं डॉक्टर शकत कुमार बसु जी को सादर आमंत्रित करता हूं उनके विचारों के।
थैंक यू शर्मा जी, वंस अगेन थैंक्स वेरी मच। आज तो मुझे वो हस्बैंड वाला सेमिनार में सुनने को मिला, तो बहुत ज्ञान प्राप्ति हुआ जिंदगी के बारे में।
मैं तो बुला रहा था आपको कि आप
नहीं,
कैसा दर्शक के दर्शक
मैं बीच में आया था कि हस्बैंड को लेकर क्या हो रहा है, क्या क्या ज्ञानी इधर हर कोई ज्ञानी है, तो इन लोगों का क्या ज्ञानवान मिल रहा है हस्बैंड के बारे में सुना, अच्छा लगा। got a very all-rounded view, so thank you to all the presenters in that particular seminar too. आज हमारे इधर थोड़ा नेट का बड़ा प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है। आई डू नॉट नो व्हाई, बिकॉज ऑफ द वेदर और समथिंग लाइक दैट, बट नॉनदलेस बाई शर्मा जी, आज हम जो बात कर रहे हैं वो तो बाइसाइकिल, नॉट ऑन स्कूटर, राइट? वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट बाइसाइकिल, जो पेडलिंग के तरफ हम यूज करते हैं, उसी के बारे में कह रहे हैं ना। तो एक तो लाइक बाइसाइकिल जैसे हीरो वगैरह आजकल एक जमाने में हमारा यूज्ड टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर लाइफ has definitely vanished, particularly from the urban areas, and there is a reason for this. When we were students, our grandparents, particularly our grandmother, used to be more close to us than mother. She used to govern us. She will give us the money to buy bicycle and everything. Every time we need something, we used to go to the grandmother. But from that very time, one of the reason I think parents, as well as grandparents, friends, family members, or guardians, do not like giving bicycles today to students or youngsters at a very young age, unless they live in within a society or something like that, where they can bike safely within a campus. There has been so many bad accidents, particularly with the bicycle. And in many cases, the youngsters who drive and speed on the highways, or there are so many vehicles which are coming from in and out turns. A lot of time there are no traffic police or civic volunteers to watch who is monitoring at what speed and things like that. That these youngsters has been meeting up with a lot of accidents. Today, the bicycle has been replaced by, for many well-to-do family kids, with a lot of these very high-end bikes, which comes around 1.5 lakhs to 5 or 7, 8 lakhs of rupees. But the danger of accident with the two-wheelers have not changed. What makes me very sad is, even in cities, big cities like Kolkata, Bengaluru, and things like that, what happens at the middle of the night when it's around 2 a.m. or something like that, many of these kids are going for a competition. This is also a kind of a scam, where there is a lot of money, bets and things are put in, and they're putting their life into extreme danger by doing competitions of extreme unsafe driving, whether it's bike, whether it's bicycle, on the super highways or on the freeways, or particularly on the upper reaches, upper connecting parts, and many times very heavily loaded trucks which have been coming from the many long distances, which are merging into the cities and stuff. Eventually, there has been so many incidents of accidents where these little kids have been crushed, or they have hit against a wall, or they have they have been driving at such a high speed, they were unable to control the speed, and they have jumped above the flyover to the lower level road, and they have been crashed and killed. This has happened so many times, particularly in the urban areas, in the areas of municipalities and corporations areas, that many parents do not prefer giving their child, or boy or girl, any kind of bicycle. And so the good part of having bicycle as a young part of our life, where used to bike to the school and things like that, have considerably changed. But still in the rural areas, this habit is still there. And in West Bengal, the government particularly provides bicycle to the students from a government fund, so that those who are living in the rural areas, they can reach their school within a particular time, to reduce the intensity of the travel that they had to cover from one village to another to reach the school and things like that, to make their life easy. And particularly they were provided to the girl child, so as to promote the value of education and the opportunity of education to many girl children in rural West Bengal and other areas in eastern India, where they are unable to even reach the school because it is 7, 8, sometimes 7 or 8 kilometers from their village. So it's a considerable long distance for them to go by walking and coming back. And it's also not safe and secure, because there are so many bad people, bad agents, or highway truckers who are driving through this way, and anything could happen to these young girls. So the schools made this provision that you have these school bicycles from the government, which you will park within the school premise. Once the class is over, then you leave in a flock. So 10, 15, 20 students are going back or coming to the school at the same time using these bicycles, has led to certain extent an education revolution in the rural areas in eastern India, particularly in case of West Bengal, where many rural areas which are isolated, or a long-term cutoff from the main education hubs or centers, have now these bicycles that helps the students to get to their school in time and to get back their home safely. One of the reason for this safety is because they are driving through the inner part of the villages, where there are not much heavy traffic. If they also sometimes, to cut time short, travel over through the highways, but I think it is a practice in the rural areas that, traveling 7 or 8 kilometers, whether by bike or walking, is not that a big challenge as we see as a challenge in the rural areas. So this is why their health remains much trimmer. They do not add up to the fat and obesity and stuff, because they are biking every day on and way to the school. But at the same time, it's a safety route, and they are avoiding the heavy, busy, collision-prone highways, where slow-moving vehicles such as the two-wheelers are not at all a safety, aspect to travel, along with trucks that are traveling at 110, 20 kilometers, or cars that are traveling at speeds of 80 to 90 kilometers. Because we in India, we do not have lanes separated, safe, and designated mostly for bikers to travel. One of the very leading thing that I saw recently by visiting Hyderabad was that the government there has created a 32-kilometer sheltered biking pathway, where people usually go for health biking, which means that they are biking for 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers, according to their stamina and physical condition, which is adding to their health. At the same time, with the biking pathway is pretty beautiful, because it is laden with shades on the top, and with trees and plants on either side. It's a double way, so one can go and come in on the other path, and people are enjoying. I see a lot of girls or young mothers taking their children, and they're also biking at the stuff. These are very good healthy habits. But the city in Hyderabad, which is a smart city now, has constructed this 32-kilometer stretch just from the outskirts edge of Hyderabad, and has become a biker's paradise in that particular sense. But not many cities in India do have, which are usually overcrowded, do have this bikers path. In Western countries, if you are even going in an highway, they have a right lane or an extreme left lane designated for bikers, that no cars would travel in that area, so the biker can safely, by biker I mean those who are paddling the bicycle, can safely travel through these areas. But we do not have those facilities and opportunities in our country, because we are overcrowded, because there is hardly any shoulder left for any major highway anywhere, unless the new ones that are coming, the multi-track highways. It is very, very difficult for bikers to travel there. And also, it is a sense of a danger to travel with a very high speed moving vehicles for a biker to travel in a bicycle in the same lanes, because it becomes very difficult for someone in the four wheel, or someone who is driving a truck, or someone who is driving a school bus, etc., sometimes to gauge the speed and how these kids or other individuals who are using these bicycles, whether they are signaling properly, whether they are providing proper signals and stuff. And also, we do not have the right of way. In many Western countries, you will have a special right of way for the bicycle. So if there is a turn and you have to successfully do the turn, they give the first chance to the bicycle, because it is more vulnerable, and more heavier trucks will take the turn at the end. Heavier your vehicle, you are turning the slowest and the end. But these kind of rules and safety regulations are not so easy to implement in highly populous countries like India, where there is so much traffic almost 24/7 on the road, and our highways are extremely busy, and the accidents, like the health aspect of the bike is undeniable. But even to go and bike in the evening or late evening, when all these trucks are coming at a very high speed in and out of the state, so that they're taking these highway has resulted in many pathetic accidents where the kids have been killed, or the individual, or a farmer who is coming back from the farm, taking the highway instead of the village road to get back to the village faster, has been crushed. So I have mentioned mostly about the negative challenges, not of the lifestyle, but of the conditions that we are writing, that why bicycle drive has now been replaced more and more over time, particularly in the city areas, because of the accident prone, and also because we are becoming more affordability with our economics, and kids and other younger ones now buy two-wheelers means the two-wheelers, not the bicycles anymore. So the joy of the bicycle, unless at a very young age, it's still there, but it has been mostly replaced, unless it's in the rural areas where I do see a strong use of bicycles extensively, not only by the students, the farmers who are working, going to the field, they are also using. Those who are harvesting vegetables, you will see it, you will be surprised to see that how nicely a farmer who has harvested and also packs the fresh green vegetables in the best possible way, even within the paddling bicycle, and is traveling 10-12 kilometers to reach the village hut or the village market to sell their products. Now this way looks harsh, like you are carrying such a load, but while you are carrying your such a heavy load, you are also losing weight down the part, because you are burning your fat, and you are going 10-12 kilometers, coming back 10 to 12 kilometers. It a good cardio, is a good physical exercises. But this becomes easier to avail in the rural areas because of the lifestyle choices, because of the need of the hour, and because how they live. Because if you are doing harvesting, you are growing vegetables and stuff, and you are living in a old municipality areas or the gram panchayat areas, there are not much roads, or there are mostly by roads and interconnected village roads, where it is much safer to travel 10 to 15 kilometers on a bike. The road may not be smooth, because it's all ups and down, full of rocks and pebbles. There are holes here and there, but I would still say it is much safer than taking a shortcut on the highway. You will definitely drive better on a highway. You will definitely have a good contract of the tire while you are driving. The traction will be better, the friction will be better, the joy of traveling with the free mode will be much better on the asphalt road. But there are significant challenges of driving, or particularly bicycles on the highway under Indian conditions, because there is always this risk of having accidents and stuff. Our truckers who are overworked, overloaded, doing over duty because they are getting extra money, sometimes they are not sleeping properly, sometimes taking drugs, often sleep over their wheels and lose control over the vehicle. So this is pretty common, that like if the bicycle is traveling by the shoulder of the road, that has got crushed because the truck lost control and completely came and hit the bicycle. So these are the challenges. Health wise, I would definitely say, whether you are talking about your legs muscles, whether you are talking about your chest muscles, whether you're talking about your back pulling and stuff, it is something that is so much good for health. And particularly if you are not using any petrol or diesel two-wheeler, you are only using the bicycle, it is definitely one of the best health alternative. In many Western countries around the world, free bicycles or bicycle charged by electric power, electric batteries are available. Sometimes you can go and pay money, just like in a car parking lot, you can take that vehicle, use it throughout the day, and you can deposit it in another charging station. It again, whenever you are taking the vehicle out or the bicycle out, you have to put a money into the system, so that would allow the bike to get out of the lock and things like that. So these kind of option and opportunities are becoming increasingly popular around the world. It is still a challenge in India, not just in the not much in the, I would say, in the rural area, but particularly in the urban areas. But if we could change infrastructure, have bicycle lanes and stuff, we could take even more advantage of the privileges of biking. It is a joy as well as such a good health practices. So thank you very much, Dr. Sharma. I covered a different sociological aspect of bicycle usage on that particular day and the dangers that we face. So thank you very much for inviting me, and wish you all a very good evening from my part. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jakarji. You are mesmerizing as always. Now I would like to request Sanatan Mahakut Welcome, Sanatan ji. Welcome.
Namaste everyone.
Namaskar, namaskar.
It is very interesting subject. We are discussing about the bicycle and its utilization in our transport system. I become very emotional because it memorized my childhood when I was in village. So my cycle was my best friend to go to tuition, to go to school, to go to college, and still now it is there in my village, and even we use very less, but it is in working condition, and it is just like the things we see in the museum. I'll focus on three areas when we discuss about the bicycle. Cycle means it is the circle, and bicycle means it has two circles or two wheels which carries. And here we focus in three areas. One is pollution. In cycle, there is no pollution of air or sound or dust. Second thing is petrol. Now the diesel and petrol rates are increasing, and there is no expenses of oil in the cycling. And third one is it is a good exercise for all the people, those who do cycling regularly. Particularly, it gives good exercise to our knees. It also helps to reduce extra fat from our abdomen, from our thighs, and particularly for the adolescent girls, it is very useful for them for their health benefits. But in old age, when we were very child, that time three things were very famous. One is wristwatch, second one is radio, third one is cycle. So these three were the social status. But as the technology has developed and the socio-economical condition has changed, now many people are not using wristwatch. That place is taken by mobile. Radio also disappearing because of the mobile and television. And cycles also disappearing in some areas because of the battery two-wheelers and electronic vehicles, motorcycles, and other transportation system. Main thing is why we use cycle, because it is very less expensive. Once we purchase, there is very less expenses in maintenance. Hardly we spend 3 to 5 rupees for putting air in a particular gap, and if there is puncture, we have to do the work. Otherwise, that cycle needs very less expenses in the maintenance. And I remember when I was a school student, I used to pay 2 rupees tax to the panchayat, like we do tax to transport department for the two-wheelers, four-wheelers, and a scooter, this thing. In village areas also, panchayatas, they keep a number and they give a token and they charge some money to know how many cycles are there in a particular area or in particular village. But nowadays, whether it is there or not, I don't know. But I used to pay 2 rupees during my student life, I remember. And in that 2 rupees, we used to get one token where the panchayat name is written and there will be a number which will be mentioned in our cycle and the validity date, hardly 1 or 2 years will be mentioned in that card. And after that, we have to renew it. So this is about the village life. But why village people use cycle? Because of the road system. And those roads are very not developed and sometimes it is very muddy, and to travel from one village to another village with some luggage like their vegetables, fruits or grocery, they need a cycle. Even sometimes to drop somebody to nearest railway station or to the bus stand, they need a cycle. Even in the case of emergency where there is no ambulance, people used to use cycle as a system, as a transport system of emergency. But nowadays, due to advancement of science and technology, all electronics gadgets are replaced with cycle. That battery cycle, electronic cycles are coming up, but the pedaling cycle that without battery, without electronic system was not there in old days. That's why village people, they used to carry, like I remember when we were in school, that ice cream people, they come near the school gate during the recess, and village people, they get vegetables, fruits from one village to another village because of the vendors, those who carry with the cycle. And particularly a remarkable object for the postman with khaki dress, he comes near the door and puts ring bell, cycle bell, tring tring. So we used to know, yes, there is a parcel or postcard or letter from the postman. So these are the memorable things which are disappearing nowadays. But exercise point of view, I'll say it has all the three aspects. When we see about the pollution or petrol cost or exercise, many corporate sectors, they are giving emphasis to their employees, those who are staying nearby their office. Instead of vehicles, they can use their cycle. And even those corporate shops are in a big campus, so to travel from one building to another building, if they use cycle, they get increment. There is an article I was going through a few days back. Many corporate sectors, to develop their green campus, they use this rule. People can use their own cycle to travel within the campus to maintain the environment without noise, without smoke, without dust, and with good exercise. And cycle is our best friend because it helps to stimulate us and to overcome from the sedentary lifestyle. Because when we use motorcycle, only our both feet and hands they work, but we need a helmet because there is speed. If there is no control of speed and if there is lack of awareness, then we face the accident. But in cycle, there are very less chances of accidents if we follow certain awareness, like when there is no jam in the road, if we do cycling in the left side, there will be very safety. But as my previous speaker was mentioning, many people, they conduct cycling competition, and that is also very risk for the young, modern young. They go for the kilometers and kilometers. Sometimes they wear helmet, but it is very risk for their knees and even for their spine. But when we do slow cycling, it has a good benefit for our brain and memory, because when we speak speedily, we cannot convey our thoughts to the person who are in front of us. But when we speak slowly and clearly, it is very clear to the audience. Like that, slow cycling is very useful for the people, those who do cycling, because it needs lots of effort. That's why instead of speed cycling, slow cycling is good, because it gives good benefit for our body and mind. And last but not the least, I'll complete here with one of my uh, young hood, means when I was in college, I used to share a cycle with two of my friends, because I was very small in my height. I could not carry other two person, but I was the owner of that cycle. So I used to sit in the front side in that rod, this area, front side here. I used to sit here. And one of my friend who is very healthy, and he does not have high cycle. So he used to sit on the seat and he used to pedal. And one of my friend who is a physical handicapped, and he used to sit at the back side in that carrier. So during our college life, we used to share this cycle with three people. Means I was the owner, that's why I used to sit in front seat. My friend who was healthy, who can cycle, who can do pedaling, he used to sit in the middle. And my friend, he's also now a school teacher, he used to sit at the back because he cannot cycle. So that cycle made me emotional today, because I went back to my childhood days. Really, village people are healthy in the free of cost. They are doing exercise in the form of communication, in the form of transport, and cycle will not disappear from the village areas. Even though nowadays there is no muddy road, all roads are now okay with the Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana. And I remember people used to carry lantern, that lamp, in the handle of the cycle, because in village areas there were no electricity that time. And if there is no dynamo in the cycle, so they used to carry the lantern or lamp in that cycle to travel from one village to another village. But cycle is a part of our life, and it will be there. Somebody, for the children, it may be a toy, but for the poor people, it is a mean of transport. Thank you all. With this, I'll complete my talk. And it was an interesting subject, and everybody should use cycle for the short distance in the form of exercise, because we see in the many gyms and aerobic centers, they keep one cycle which is steady. We sit on the seat and we do pedaling. But instead of doing cycling in a steady place, if we go around and if you cycle in down and up in different directions, it gives different exercise to our body and different limbs and mind. So no doubt it is a friend of our pollution, means environment. It saves the cost of petrol, and it is also a good form of exercise. Thank you. Thank you all. Namaste.
थैंक यू सनातन जी, बहुत अच्छा बोले आप। आपने इम्पोर्टेंस भी बताए, सेंटिमेंट्स भी बताए, बहुत शानदार। थैंक यू वेरी मच। गुड नाइट। ऐसे ही जुड़ते चलिएगा, आप आशीर्वाद
Good
देते
night.
हैं, उसको बड़ा